going to be changes. The realization becomes, we're all replaceable. We're all replaceable.
Before the power ballads, before the tuxedoed music videos and wedding slow dances, there was a street tough band from Chicago that strapped a horn section onto rock and set it on fire. They called it rock with horns. The world called it a revolution. This is the band that conquered Carnegie Hall, stacked #1 albums like trophies, and then watched its own identity slip through its fingers, piece by piece, player by player.
So we did this dance. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Club Jeezy. We're going to warm it up with a couple belly rubbers.
It was an entirely different attitude towards playing music.
This is how Chicago rose, fractured, and kept going long after the soul that made them famous was gone. Roots in a windy city basement. 6 young players crowd into a Chicago apartment in February 1967 with a simple, defiant plan. Build a rock band led by horns. Terry Kath's guitar roars and growls. Robert Lamb's keys drive the engine. Walt Parazater, Lee Loughnane, and James Pankow lock in like one brass lung. Danny Seraphine snaps the backbeat tight. They call themselves The Big Thing, tearing up Midwest clubs with James Brown and Wilson Pickett covers.
The Club Jeezy, an upholstered sewer on the south side of Chicago. The only people who the audience were my parents. I mean, it was just, yeah, this is great.
Soul power with a brass punch. Then the missing piece walks in. Peter Cetera, a tenor voice that can soar above the storm and a bass that can anchor it. The blend, grit, melody, harmony, clicks. Manager James William Guercio moves them west to LA, rechristens them Chicago Transit Authority, then simply Chicago when the real transit authority objects.
Kind of the legend around Illinois was that Chicago Transit Authority had been formed out of these local supergroups. As we watched them play, we were all like...
In 1969, a double LP debut lands with a thud that echoes. No instant hit singles, but a big brash sound that feels inevitable.
Horns was with you guys was extraordinary, but Terry Kath's talent was just...
Word spreads. The horn band is for real. Jimi Hendrix hears them and hears danger, in a good way. The breakout. Rock radio makes space for horns. Chicago 2 arrives like a declaration. Make Me Smile cracks radio wide open. 25 or 6-4 surges into the top 5 on sheer riff adrenaline. Suddenly, the album band is a singles band too, and the logo becomes a brand stamped across an empire.
He envisioned everything sort of being under one roof.
And when the time was right, we brought them to Los Angeles.
By 1971, 3 massive LPs are charting at once. Then they do what few rock groups have dared. A week at Carnegie Hall, recorded and released as an audacious 4 LP box. Critics quibble, fans buy it anyway. The message is clear. This isn't a novelty. This is a movement.
Pick up your own brush. When you get done with that, after you pick it up, apologize to me that you talked to me that way.
Saturday in the Park. Every day on the charts. The run turns ridiculous. Chicago 5 spends 9 weeks at #1, with Saturday in the Park as the summer soundtrack. Tours swell from theaters to fields, a sea of faces in Grant Park. Stadiums with the Beach Boys. Inside the machine, it's controlled chaos. Brilliance and burnout as they write, record, and release in a relentless annual cadence.
Chicago will always be special because that's where it all started. And every time we're back there, that connection is real.
The horn charts bite. Kath's vocals bleed. Lamb's songs ring with city glass clarity. They look unstoppable. And that's when the story bends. The hit that changed the band. Chicago X lands a miracle. If You Leave Me Now. It's lush, tender, perfect. And it becomes their first number, 1 single and a global anthem. The trophies follow, but so does the label. Suddenly, Chicago, the brass rock beast, gets tagged as a ballad band. Some inside the group wince. Beautiful? Yes. But is it them? Pressure from the outside.
So Lee Loughnane, Robert Lamb, Jimmy Pankow, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
And by the way, congratulations. Apparently, you did what Ponce de Leon did, and you found the fountain of youth. You guys.
And the inside rises. More hits, more ballads, more singles. Chicago 11 delivers another top 5 in Baby What a Big Surprise. The charts look great. The edges feel duller, and the friction with Guercio grows louder in the studio. Then everything shatters. Don't worry, it's not loaded. A pistol at a party. A joke no one will ever laugh at. Terry Kath, 31 years old, the throbbing heart of Chicago's grit, squeezes the trigger on an unloaded gun. The bullet ends more than a life. It ends a balance. The rasp against the velvet, the street against the sweet, the guitarist who thrilled Hendrix and the baritone who could turn brass into thunder.
This was before we recorded an album, and we went to New York, and we used to go, because everybody wanted to, meet some chicks, have a nice little drink and all this stuff. So like we'd go into these nightclubs or something, and like all these groupie chicks, they'd come up. Oh, you got a lot of. Who are you? Oh yeah, I'm with CTA.
For a moment, the band stops breathing. Some say it's over. Others say they owe him a fight to keep going. They choose to live, without the soul that started it. Hot streets, cold reality. New producer, new guitarist, new cover with faces instead of the logo. Hot Streets says we're alive again, and the charts, briefly, agree. But the ground is moving. Disco on one side, punk and new wave on the other. The horn rock hybrid feels like yesterday's news to trendsetters. Chicago 13 experiments with dance grooves. It doesn't land. A huge label deal suddenly looks like a burden neither side can carry.
Things we learned in our interview is that BMG Records has now signed them to not a 1-record off deal, but a 2-record deal for 3 guys and their wonderful band, and they're in their 70s. Well, I've got more with my interview from Chicago at WTHR.com/Chuck's Big Adventure. If you liked what you saw, you're going to love. We're showing the whole interview on our digital platforms. And by the way, I want to thank our crew for a wonderfully fun Chuck's Big Adventure. Producer Megan Simpson, Scott Graber, who was with us on this trip, and that piece shot and edited by the great Steve Rhodes. So,
Chicago 14 misses. Columbia buys them out. Guercio is gone. Kath is gone. The old momentum is gone. What's left? A name, a catalog, a decision. Reinvent or sink. The Foster Years. Reinvention by design. Enter David Foster, a producer with a plan and a sound.
Earlier, the fact is nobody ever asked me to write one before, so they said,
Did you want to do it? Did you want to do
Not
it?
really. And then somebody, the Boot people came along and said,
Chicago 16 is sleek, glossy, and aimed straight at radio. Synths shimmer, drums snap, and horns step back. Foster co-writes, plays parts, and reshapes the band from the inside out. The result? Hard to Say I'm Sorry goes #1 worldwide. A new generation discovers Chicago, some without realizing there are horns in the logo at all. Chicago 17 explodes. 6 million plus in the US, a parade of smashes. Hard Habit to Break, You're the Inspiration, Stay the Night. Arenas again. Magazine covers again.
look like for Chicago.
Well, if you ask our manager, we're going to be working in 5 years. So nothing's going to change.
Yeah, we're going to do it
much.
until we can't do it anymore. For me, until it's not believable anymore. I mean, I don't want to get to the point where I'm struggling to climb on the stage.
But the price is identity. The brass roars have softened to strings and synth pads. The signature is now Peter Cetera's tenor and power ballads with immaculate polish. At the peak of the comeback, the frontman walks.
And I doubled all that stuff.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. And it was another thing was great as well. It's the first time we got around to the first verse. He says, "You got to sing, I'm addicted to you, baby." And Foster's on the machine. He goes, "I'm a dick." Okay, double.
Cetera leaves, the logo stays. Peter Cetera departs to go solo at the height of the Renaissance. For many fans, that voice is Chicago. The band gambles on Jason Scheff, a 23-year-old with a sky-high tenor and a bass slung low. Eerily familiar and brand new at once. With Foster still at the helm, Chicago 18 steadies the ship. Will You Still Love Me climbs the charts, and the crowds exhale. The franchise survives the star exit.
Gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing I'm 100 million more. There's nothing that 100 million. There's nothing that 100 men or more. Men or more. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. Oh, yeah. I bless the rains down in Africa. Gonna take some time to build the things we never had. Ooh.
But a question lingers. If the sound can be replaced, what exactly is Chicago now? Outside songs, inside tensions. Chicago 19 turns to elite hitmakers. Diane Warren hands them Look Away, and it rockets to #1. Sung not by Cetera, but by Bill Champlin. More hits follow. Polished, powerful, and increasingly not self-written. It works, and it wounds. The hornmen who once defined the sound watch their parts shrink. The writers who built the brand watch outside songs carry it. They're still winning on radio. They're losing themselves in the mirror. Breaking the brotherhood. 23 years after that first apartment rehearsal, the first founding pillar falls from within. Danny Seraphine is fired in 1990. A new drummer, Tris Imboden, keeps the stage tight. The charts don't care. Chicago 21 lands softly. Then, a spark of rebellion. An album of self-written, horn-forward material meant to reclaim the band's purpose. Stone of Sisyphus.
Leon played. I wouldn't doubt if Leon played on some of it. And then Phil Spector hooked up with them and they did You've Lost That Love and Feeling. Boom, took off like a shit.
They pour their guts into it. The label shelves it as non-commercial. The message is brutal. The old Chicago you loved isn't the Chicago we can sell. They part ways with the label. The rock machine that once moved mountains is now rolling one up a hill that keeps pushing back. Detours, do-overs, and a working legacy. If the gatekeepers won't open, find another gate. They cut night and day. Big band. Swing standards with brass blazing. An homage to the elders who taught them how to punch in rhythm. They start minding their own catalog, tour relentlessly, and welcome Keith Howland on guitar, an obsessed fan who auditions his way into history and channels Terry's rhythmic fire with reverence instead of imitation. The hits era ends. The legacy era begins.
You play the CD, you recognize the songs, but you also recognize that it's Chicago. A great song is a great song. That's why they're still around 50 years later. But to put it across to a new audience, we felt a need to inject our own touch into it.
They return to new material sporadically. Chicago 30, now born for this moment, and keep their name alive the hard way. 100 shows a year, night after night, generation after generation. Honors and open wounds. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame finally calls. The original members are honored. Old bandmates share a stage for a final jam, but Peter Cetera doesn't show. Behind the scenes, emails about keys and arrangements curdle into old resentments. A throwaway take a chill pill lands like a grenade. Even in triumph, Chicago can't outrun its ghosts. The fans cheer the songs. The people who made them still feel the fractures. The institution outlives the origin. Players rotate. Walt Parazaider retires from the road. Jason Scheff moves on after 3 decades. Keith Howland exits after a quarter century. 3 founders, Lamb, Loughnane, Pankow, carry the flame with a younger roster that keeps the charts alive on stage. Some nights Lamb sings while someone else minds the keys. The show goes on. A bold idea takes root. Maybe Chicago can become like a jazz orchestra. Music bigger than membership. Players go in, players go out. The logo stays. The songs endure. But a harder truth hums underneath. If soul is chemistry, then pieces of Chicago's soul left with Kath, Cetera, and Seraphine. If soul is song, then maybe the soul survives every lineup change as long as 25 or 6 to 4 still snarls, and Saturday in the Park still smiles. Chicago's saga is not a straight line.
New people in, most of the time the musicianship increases. Do you guys see that?
That's true, yep.
It's a skyline, peaks, valleys, rebuilds, and lights that never fully go out. They invented a lane and then watched the world push them into another. They lost a brother in a single, senseless second. They traded brass for silk, soul for sails, and then fought to get the brass and the soul back. Did they become a band without its soul? Or did the soul migrate into the songs, outliving the hands that first played them? Stand in an arena as that logo glows and those first chords hit. If your chest thumps when the horns come in, maybe the answer is still on stage.